To a Mouse by Robbie Burns. On turning her up in her nest with the plough, November 1785. Wee sleekit cowering timorous beastie, oh what a panic's in thy breastie. Thou needna start away so hasty wi' bicker and brattle. I would be loath to rin and chase thee wi' murder and prattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doubt na, whiles, but thou may thieve. What then, poor beastie, thou maun leave a daemon icker in a thrave. 'S small request, I'll get a blessing with the lave, and never missed. Thy wee bit housey too in ruin, as silly was the winds a strewn, and naething now a big a noon, o foggage green, and bleak December's winds ensuing, baith snell and keen. Thou saw the fields laid bare and waste, and weary winter coming faced, and cosy here beneath the blast thou thought to dwell, till crash the crueler coulter pest out through thy cell. That wee bit heap o' leaves and stibble has cost thee mony a weary nibble. Now thou's turned out for thy trouble, but house or held to dole a winter's sleety dribble and chronic cold. But Mousie, thou art no thy lane, improving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes o' mice and men gang after gloy, and lay us nothing but grief and pain, but for promised joy. Still thou art blessed compared with me, the present only toucheth thee, but och, a backward cast my ee on prospects drear, and forward though I canna see, I guess and fear. A Red Rose by Robbie Burns. Oh, my love is like a red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. So fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till a' the seas gang dry. Till a' the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, I will love thee still, my dear, while the suns o' life shall run. And fare thee weel, my only love, and fare thee weel a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile. This one's called The Banks O Doon by Robbie Burns. Ye banks and braes o' bonny Doon, how can ye bloom sae fresh and fair? How can ye chant, ye little birds, and I see weary full o' care? Thou'll break my heart, thou wobbling bird, that wantons through a flowering thorn. Thou minds me o' departed joys, departed never to return. Aft I roved by bonny Doon, to see the rose and woodbine twine, and ilka bird sang o' its love, and fondly said did I o' mine. Wi' lightsome heart I pou'd a rose, fu' sweet upon its thorny tree, and my fust lover saw my rose, but he left the thorn wi' me. To a Louse, on seeing one on a lady's bonnet at church by Robbie Burns. Ha! Where ye going, ye crowlin' furly? Your impudence protects ye surely. I canna say, but ye strunt rarely o'er gauze and lace. Thou faith, I fear ye dine but sparely on sic a place. Ye ugly creepin' blastit woner, detested shunned by sont and sinner, how dare ye set your foot upon her, sae fine a lady? Gae somewhere else and seek your dinner, on some poor body. Swith in some beggar's huffet squattle, there ye may creep and sprawl and sprattle, whither kindred jumping cattle in shoals and nations, where horn or bane ne'er dure unsettle your thick plantations. Now hoard ye there, ye're out of sight, below the fatrals snug and tight. No faith ye yet, ye'll no be right till you've got on it, the very topmost towering height of Mrs. Bonnet. My sooth, right bold ye set your nose out, as plump and grey as ony grows it, or for some rank mercurial roset, or fell red smedum. I'd gie ye sick a hearty dose it, would dress your drodum. I wouldna be surprised to spy you on an old wife's flinin' toy, or ablin some bit diddy boy on his wild coat. But Mrs. Fine Lenardi, fie, how dare ye do it? On Jenny, dinna toss your head, and set your beauties eye abread. Ye little ken o' what curse spade the blastie's making. The winks and fingers' ends I dread are notice taken. I wad some power the gifty gies to see ourselves as others see us. It would frae money a blunder phrase and foolish notion, what airs and dress and gait would lay us, and even devotion. Address to Haggis by Robbie Burns. Fair fa ye honest sonsy face, great chieftain of the puddin' race, aboon them a ye take your place, pinch, tripe or therm, weel are ye worthy of a grace, as lang's my arm. The groaning trencher, there ye fill your hurdles like a distant hill, your pin wad help to mend a mill in time of need, while through your pores the dews distil like amber bead. His knife see rustic labour dight, and cut ye up with ready sight, trenching your gushing entrails bright like ony ditch. And then, oh what a glorious sight, wom reeking rich. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, they'll tack the hindmost on they drive, till other wheel-swelled kites belive are bent like drums. Then old guidemen maist like to rive, bethank it hums. Is there ora a French ragout, or olio that would stay a cow, or fricasse would make her spew, with perfect scorner, looks down with sneer and scornful view on sic a dinner. Poor devil, see him o'er his trash, as feckless as a wirrad rash, his spindle shank a gulp would lash, his neve a knit. Thou body fluid or field to dash, how unfit. But mark the rustic Haggis fid, a trembling earth resound his tread, clapping his woolly neve a blade, he'll make it whistle, and legs and arms and heads will snid, like taps a thistle. Ye prows will make mankind your care, and dash them out, O builder fair. Old Scotland wants nae stinking ware that jopes in luggies, but if ye wish her grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. A man's a man for a' that, by Robbie Burns. Is there for honest poverty, that hangs his head and all that, a coward slave we passing by, we dare be poor for a' that. For all that and all that, our toil's obscure and all that, the rank is but a guinea's stamp, the man's a god for all that. What though on hamely fare we dine, wear hoden grey and all that, gie fools their silks and knaves their wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, their tinsels show and all that, the honest man though e'er so poor, is king of men for all that. Ye see yon birkie called the Lord, with struts and stairs and all that, the hundreds worship at his word, but he's a coof for all that. For all that and all that, his ribbon stare and all that, the man of independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. A prince can make a bittled knight, a marquis, a duke, and all that, but an honest man's aboon his might, good faith, he mauna fa that. For all that and all that, their dignities and all that, the pith of sense and pride a worth, a higher rank and all that. Then let us pray that come it may, as come it will for all that sense and worth o'er all the earth shall bear the green and all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that. The man to man the world o'er shall brothers be for all that. This one's called Tam o' Shanter by Robbie Burns. When chapman billies leave the street, and drowsy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late, and folk begin to tick the gate, while we sit bowsing at the nappy, and getting foin unco happy, we think nae on the lang scats miles, the mosses, wortes, slaps and stiles, that lie between us and our hame, where sits her sulky sullen dame, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth fand honest Tam o' Shanter, as he frae ere ain night did canter. Old Eyre hame never a town surpasses, for honest men and bonny lasses. O Tam, hadst thou been so wise, as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice, she told thee weel thou was a skillum, a blithering, blustering, drunken blellum, that frae November till October, if a market day thou wasna sober, that ilka milder with the miller, though sat as lang as thou did siller, that every nig was kaid a shoein, the smith and thee got raring fooin, that at the Lord's house, even on Sunday, thou drank wi' Kirkton Jean till Monday, She prophesied that late or soon thou would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catched wi' warlocks in the mirk by Alloway's old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me greet to think how mony counsels sweet, how mony lengthened sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale, market night, Tam had got planted unco right, fast by an ingle, breezing finely, wi' reaming swats that drank divinely. And at his elbow, Soter Johnny, his ancient trusty drouthy crony. Tam lo'ed him like a verra brither, they had been for weeks together. The night drave on with songs and clatter, and the isle was growing bitter. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with favours secret sweet and precious. The Soter told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without might rare and rustle, Tam needed mind the storm a whistle. Care, mad to see a man so happy, e'en drowned himself among the nappy. As bees fly hame wi' lads of treasure, the minutes winged their way wi' pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread, ye sees the flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white, then melts forever. Or like the borealis race, that flit ere you can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, it vanish in the mid the storm. Nae man can tether time or tide, the hour approaches, Tam maun ride. That hour, o night's black arch, the keystane, that dreary hour he mounts his beast in. And sick the night he takes the road in, and ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twould blown its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast. The speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder billowed. That night a child might understand the dilly had business on his hand. Wheel mounted on the grey mare, Meg, a bitter never lifted leg. Tam skelpit on though dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire. Whiles holding fast his good blue bonnet, whiles crooning o'er some old Scots sonnet, whiles growring round wi' prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares, Kirk Alloway was drawing nigh, where ghasts and houlets nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where, in the snore, the chapman smored, and past the birks of Michaelstane, where drunken Shirley brake his neckbane. And through the winds and by the cairn, where hunters finned and murdered burn. And near the thorn aboon the well, where's Mungo's mither hanged hersel. Before him down pours all the floods, and doubling storms roar through the woods, and lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more, near the thunders roll. Where glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirk Alloway seemed in a blaze. Through ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Ballycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn? Wi' Tippenate we'll feel no evil, wi' Uskabay we'll face the devil. The squats surrimmed in Tammy's noddle, fair play he ked, a dale's a boddle. But Maggie stood, right sair astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished, she ventured forward on the light, and vow, Tam saw an unco sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance, nae cotillion bent nae frae from France, but hornpipes, jigs, straths, spaes and reels, put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in shape of beast, a towsy tyke, black, grim and large, to gie them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and girt them skirl, till roof and rafters did dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses, that showed the dead in their dresses, and by some devilish cantrip sleight, each in its cold hand held a light, and by heroic Tam was able to note upon haly table a murder's banes and gibbet arms, twi' lain slang wi' unchristened bairns. A thief new cutted frae a rape, wi' his last gasp his gab did gape. 5 tomahawks wi' blood red rusted, 5 scimitars with murder crusted. A garter wi' a babe had strangled, a thief a further's throat had mangled. whom his ain son o' life bereft, the grey hairs yet stack to the heft, wi' mair a horrible and awful, which even to his name would be unlawful. 3 lawyers' tongues turned inside out, wi' lies seemed like a beggar's clout. 3 priests' hearts, rotten black as muck, lay stinking vile in every nuck. As Tammy glowed, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleek it, till ilka carlin swat and reek it, and coosed her duddies to their work, and linket at it in her sark. Now Tim, oh Tim, had they been queens, a plump and strappin' in their teens, their sarks, instead of creation flannin, been snow white 1700 linen. Their breeks o' mine, my only pair, the answer plush o' good blue hair. I would have gained them off me hardies, for I blink o' bonny birdies. But whether beldams old and droll, rigwoody hags would speen a foal, looping and flinging on a crummock, I wonder didna turn thy stomach? But Tam kenned what was what for brawly. There was a winsome wench and Wally, that night enlisted in the corps, long after kenned on Carrickshore. For mony a beast to dead she shot, and perished mony a bonny boat, and shook baith makel, con and bear, and kept the countryside in fair. Her cutty sark o' Paisley harn, that while a lassie she had worn, in longitude, though sorely scanty, it was best, and she was vaunty. Ah, little kenned thy reverend granny, that sark she coft for her wee nanny. With whipping Scots, 'twas a' her riches, would aye grace the dance of witches. But here my muse and wing mon core, sick flights are fair beyond her power, to sing how Nanny lap and flang, a supple jade she was and strang, and how Tim stood like ane bewitched, and thought his very ain enriched. And Satan glowered and fidged fae fain, and hopscotched and blew wi' might and main, till first a caper, sin another, Tam dint his reason altogether, and rose out, "Well done, Cutty Sark!" and in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie railed, when out the hellish legion sailed. As bees bizz out wi' angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their bike, as open pussy's mortal foes, when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when "Catch the thief!" resounds aloud, so Maggie runs, the witches follow, and money and eldritch screech and hollow. Ah Tam, thou'll get thy faring, in hell they'll roast thee with a herring. In vain thy Kate awaits thy coming, Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speed the utmost, Meg, and win the key stane o' the brig. They're at them, thou tail may toss, a running stream they dare not cross. But ere the keystane she could make, a fine a tail she had to shake. For Nanny, far before the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle, but little wist she's Maggie's mettle. A spring brought off her master hale, but left behind her an ain grey tail. The carlin caught her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. No with's tale a truth shall read, like men and mother's son take heed. Whene'er to drink you are inclined, or cutty sarks run in your mind, think ye may buy joys, oh dear, remember Tam o' Shanter's mare.